Hello everyone, this is bloodredChili with podcast number 1, Being Responsible. So first of all, I want to start with a story which will lead us into our topic. So the other day, I was feeling pretty miserable. I've been walking home through heavy, somewhat rainy snowfall. I was tired as fuck cause I didn't have much sleep the night before, and the flu I've been having for the last 2 weeks still wanted to get back control over my body. Bodily conditions left aside, it wouldn't have changed too much if I were healthy at that moment. It was the beginning of the year and I felt like first eagerness of starting into new projects was haunted by the echoes of last year. I should mention that I had many personal projects running throughout the year 2014, but looking back, I wouldn't really feel that I was getting anywhere. All these goals, all these have to be's, I just couldn't make it, Although I wasn't one to easily get down or to easily let down my personal growth, and I am still pretty surprised by that side of me. Just to say, I wouldn't really feel that nice sense of success you are having when really graduating in something like closing a chapter of your life. I was missing the feeling of, you could say, leveling up, and I felt more like I was coping with the constant struggle of life. Sort of balancing my career, which really is at its starting point now, with social, maybe you could say, duties, which for me also kind of includes caring for others, caring for friends, building up friendships and helping people out. And it seems many people need help these days. So I would really not see my personal goals really growing. They were maybe steadily growing, steadily building up, but not really getting anywhere. This might not be true, for I might have forgotten how far behind I was the year before, but there isn't really any way to measure that, or I may not see it. So I was walking home with all these thoughts on my head. My eyes, they were always kind of closed. I really had to hold them looking out with great effort, because I was so sleepy. Well, all of this left aside, I was still pretty damn happy to get home. But 5 minutes ago I was happy, enthusiastic getting home. And then my brother called. Because, I knew he was coming home tonight and we would have some nice brother time chilling out, watching TV or something, I don't know. But my brother wasn't coming. He called me being sick and staying at his apartment because of that, which of course I can sympathize with, and no way I would have wanted him to come if he wasn't really feeling healthy. He wasn't really feeling up to it, and I was disappointed, although I wouldn't really mention it to him. I only said something like, well, I understand, whatever, never mind, next week. And I was not really interested in getting home anytime soon, because no one was waiting for me, and I had also no idea what to do with the rest of the eve, of the night, and still also feeling kind of physically down. I wouldn't really get home fast to go out later or something. And this, of course, all of this, as I already mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, made me feel miserable, which somehow is understandable. And yet there was something in me saying that cannot really be all of your feelings. And this may sound awkward, but I was aware that all of this was very much true for me. But yet, still only a matter of perspective. I mean, I have been granted with some time for me, no social duties, no one calling for me, just me having some time to chill, playing video games or watching TV, whatever, you name it. So I saw a YouTube video on that day, someone talking about taking responsibility of your own life. Although I didn't really see it all through, it was more like, well, clicking on it, doing something else on the computer, even walking away, and besides that, somehow listening to the talk. I think I didn't really see it all through. I don't know. And it got me thinking about the word responsibility, you know? Taking responsibility somehow, had to do with being responsible, of course. And, you know, some people say everyone is responsible for his or her own life. Bam. This always kind of offended me, you know, because it was always kind of related with to blame, who is to blame, you know. But on that day, walking home, I kind of thought, well, what if being responsible doesn't mean that you are to blame for what happens to you in your life, but rather meaning something like, if you are responsible, then you respond to the life you're coping with. And that really got me thinking. Just the thought of it kind of set me free of various emotions draining on sorrow and despair. I thought the situation may not be nice, far away from perfect, but if I am responsible, I can deal with it personally. If I take my life seriously and answer it with all my interest, then I may have a chance of turning it around to the direction I want. And that really made me feel somewhat powerful. It may have been just a little spark, not lasting for too long, but that was enough for me. You know, that I wanted to start doing podcasts, and I've been thinking about it all week, and I couldn't really nail it down to one topic because there are just way too many interesting topics. But as I started thinking about taking responsibility, I saw that preparing the podcast, maybe writing out the thoughts I wanted to submit, would not only help me with this miserable state, but even complete the task itself. Like, maybe you could say creating the podcast would sustain the final content of the podcast itself. And that's pretty much like it. Writing out the lines, ordering my thoughts, and putting down those emotions helped me out with the struggle of not getting anywhere. It might not just be so easy, but it might be so easy, you know. It has often been said that life always answers to your calls, and I don't want to be too irrationally or something, but it's times like these that make me feel like it isn't all that bad. So thank you all for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down below. As always, your bloodredChili. Farewell.